not some of the photographers I've interviewed are not gear hounds at all, but you clearly are rivaling any of my viewers. Back when you were shooting...
Did I send you that photograph?
Yeah.
Right,
I'll
okay.
splice that one in now, actually. Nice little collection he's got there, huh? So you said there's still a couple of things you're missing, the 200 f2?
Oh yeah, that's been on back order for like forever. I mean, like all the...
At the event today, you can't just walk off with one. I'm sure they'd figure.
No, because I'm probably making mine up with my own special engraving or something. I don't know, my lucky number. No, no, I did. I was. There's not a lot that I want. I have nearly everything, as you'll see by that photograph. What I meant was, in that photograph, not everything is there.
Yeah. Rob was saying your house is like a museum that Nikon Australia don't even have the collection that you have.
It's hilarious.
What things do you have?
Oh, I go back to, I have like Nikon X's and stuff like that. I don't have any S's or anything like that. But I have quite a collection. You know, my great-grandfather, I have his old wooden Pickard, which is quite an amazing camera. I have like the Nikon RS, which was the autofocus underwater camera that was meant to supersede the Nikonos, which is absolutely amazing. Which kind of funny because you know, with Nikon bringing out the AW100, maybe we might get a little bit more. But you know, with the camera housings, you know, with Sanctum, I shot 6 weeks underwater at night, and I used my Huggy Foot housing with my D700. Everything at 1600 and 3200 ISO. In fact, I think the poster, which you're going to show now, I think that's at 3200 ISO, okay, which is really quite amazing. I mean, that is a beautiful, beautiful little camera. I mean, you know, I did a workshop in Perth just a couple of months ago, and there was 70 people there, I think. And you know what? Probably 50 of them had a D700. I was really amazed. I had no idea how much that little baby had grabbed at the heartstrings of people. I mean, it's probably the most versatile camera that Nikon's made, really. When you think about it, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you have...
I have the D700.
Yeah.
I had the 3S waiting on the 4.
The 4. Ooh.
It's nice. How many shots do you reckon you've taken on yours in the last month?
Oh, I've been trying to spit the shutter. I've been trying to test out that 400,000 cycles, yeah. It's like, well, you know, maybe.
So for you, will the 800 come in handy for...
Yeah, look, the 800, I think this is the first time that any manufacturer, and you know, everyone knows I'm a Nikon fanboy, but I look at what everyone's got, and I admire what other people have got as well. I think it's really healthy that, you know, that we've got the competition with the other manufacturers out there. But I think that this is the first time that any manufacturer have built 2 cameras that as a professional photographer you must have. You know, in the old days it was like you played around with film, and you know, you'd have 2 f4s or 2 f5s or 3 f5, well, you know, whatever you'd have, but you wouldn't have, you know, you wouldn't have a D3S, a D700, a D7000, a D300S. You wouldn't have that. But I use different cameras now, like different film, and it's really weird, you know, like with 700, that's my lightweight stripped down kit if I've got to go, you know, hiking up Mount Wudang, or if I'm putting it in my Huggy Foot housing, you know, it's, you know, one way or the other. The D800, 36 megapixels, you're freaking kidding me, aren't you? I mean, I saw, have you seen those files on the Pentax 645D?
Oh, I've used one, yeah.
Right, okay. There's comparisons on the D800 and the 645D. The 800 knocks it for 6, and that's a damn good camera. That, yeah. And it's like, you've got to be kidding me.
That was already the bargain option for
that was the bargain. Yeah. Now what was it? It's 10K, right? Yeah. So I think that the 800 is like mid 3s, right?
Yeah, something around there. They haven't announced it for Australia, but it will be somewhere there.
Yeah, and you got Nikon glass. I mean, you're kidding me. So you've got that with the megapixels, the video, which is something which all of us guys are just starting to delve into. I mean, I know that you love your video. You're exploring it a lot more, aren't you?
Yeah, well, so would you be if you're still in news. That's going to really change things. I mean, the news guys now, everyone has to be able to shoot video.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like D800, I mean, regardless of what camera, what manufacturer you're with, that's got to be something on your hot ticket list, right?
And he's not being paid to say any of this.
No, I'm not. No one pays me freaking anything. You can send donations to my home address.
You've used the 800 though? Have you used the E as well?
No, I haven't used the E. The E interests me a great deal, but I don't think that I don't think that I'll get one. I think I'll stick with what I call the straight 8, which is not a bad name, huh? The straight 8. So yeah, no, I'll stick with the straight 8. I won't go to the E. And that's because the file size and the quality is going to be more than enough for what I need. Yeah. I've never been requested to have the filter removed. But that's not to say that that's not going to happen in the future.
As you move into landscapes?
Well, not only that, but with the special shoots on the film sets that I do, I have I'll have an art director sent out from the States to babysit me, and who's to say that they're not going to request it? It's like I mean, they've sat there and requested Hasselblads and stuff like that for many years, and I only do it on a D3X. So who's to say that they're not going to sit there and the E isn't going to blow everyone out of the water, and they're going to go, well, we'll take that, thank you very much. So yeah, it's it's happy days. It's a good time for all of us to be photographers from the two manufacturers. I mean, look at everything that's coming out. I mean, I use Nikon because I need the low light capability and the accuracy and focus. So for me, Nikon's a no-brainer. But if you need, if there's other areas in photography that you need a different camera, well then you need a different camera. But
do you still shoot any film?
Yeah, I have a Nikomat. I have a few Nikomats actually, but I have a Nikomat pt2, and I believe I have that because that was the first camera that I shot with professionally. Mm-hmm. And I still use my 50mm oyster shell. Although I've now upgraded, I bought myself a 50mm 1.2, which was also one of the first lenses that I had as soon as they made it, and that is.
They're still making them.
They're still making it because it's like the most. If you're doing video, which is what we were talking about a minute ago, you got to have the 50mm 1.2. With the D4 you get 3 different frame sizes, right? You get the FX, yep, the DX, and the CX. Now the CX is actually the optimum for the HD. So everything else from that point is a bonus. But what it also means is you've got a 50mm lens, it's a 75mm, and a 135. Your favourite, and you can correct me on my maths if that's wrong, but if you've got a favourite lens and you can get 3 different focal lengths out of it, how cool is that? And then you throw your 85 on, or you go down to like the 14-24 and stuff like that. I mean, you're kidding me. I mean, no one is offering that. None of the the Red Epics, the Alexa, none of it offering like that. They offered like the 4K, 2K, but they're not offering it on the sensor size. They're offering it in a drop-in resolution. Whereas with the Nikons, you're not getting a drop-in resolution. The straight 8 and the E, you're getting you're not getting the CX. You're only getting the FX and the DX. But you're still getting the 2 formats, and they record straight to Key Pros or Apples. That's recording raw footage straight to a hard drive.
I heard something like 37 megaseconds or something like that for the raw footage.
Actually, I did a test on that last week, and I'm not going to quote it now because I've forgotten what it was. But the information that we had was wrong. So I don't know whether the information that you've got was the incorrect information or the one that we fixed up. Did you get that today?
Yeah, that was the lad was saying he did a test on some unit.
From Kinga?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah. And that's correct, because Kinga and I did the test last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
You should speak to some of those guys, like Rob and Andrew. You should get them in one day if they're allowed to.
Yeah.
Because, man, those guys, they're a wealth of technical information. Guys like me, I'm technically inept. Like, I have no idea how to do anything but pick up the camera and shoot what my little eyes see. But those guys, I mean, like, if I've got a problem, I ring them out, it's like, right, how do we do this? It's like, I'm trying to get some modifications done on a Nikon 1 at the moment, which I can't talk about because it's probably highly illegal. But but hey, what's the point of being a Nikon ambassador if you can't get the service department working for you?
The whole team. So your whole career you shot Nikon then?
Yep. There's not my whole professional career. My first camera was a Ricoh, and I had that for about a year or something at school, and then as soon as I went to the newspapers, that was it. So
the collection you have now, is that you've never sold a camera?
No, that's not it. No, that's not correct. I used to actually get rid of all my stuff. I mean, as a struggling photographer, you do. You can't afford to keep things. Now, life is a little bit better than what it used to be, and I struggle to get rid of anything, especially when you test them. I tested the D90, the initial testing of that, and now my 4-year-old, he uses it. He's had that for like 2 years. Insert picture of him as 2 years old on the Great Wall of China with his D90.
With Will Smith's son?
With him and Jaden, yeah, they used to hang out. It was horrible. They'd come out to visit on set, and
just in case people don't realise, this is from the Karate Kid. What year was that one filmed? Like 2008 or something like that?
2009 maybe.
Okay.
Could be 2008. Maybe released. Yeah, well, yeah, hold on, I can tell you. 2009, because Hunter was 2. So everything is what film you're on. To work out his age. Oh, yeah, okay, he was 2. But he'd be called to Jaden's trailer before he was allowed to come and see me. It was like, what's with that? And so I remember sitting there on one of the first few days, and Will's there, and it's like, you always, you're polite on a film set. It's the way that you're meant to be. And, Will's a producer, and, Jaden's daddy. And it's like, oh, Will, just wondering, I usually bring my family out on set every now and again. And I was wondering if it would be okay if they paid a visit, and if that's all right with you. He goes, Jason, look, I bring my son to work every day. I'd be upset if you didn't bring Hunter along. And so it's like, yeah, but Jaden's the star in the movie. He has to be here. It's like, you know what I mean. Bring him along. And so the Smiths are very, very family orientated. They're wonderful people, and they all travel together. And that has got to be one. That's a really good experience, that film. And someone else was asking me about favourite films today, and you know what? I forgot to mention that.
You were talking about the climbing to Mount Wuna. Was that for that film?
Yeah, that was Mount Wudang. That was for Karate Kid. Yeah, it was an amazing experience because it's like an hour and a half just to get to the base of the mountain, and then you got to walk another hour straight up. And
how long's the trip down after a day of shooting?
Well, the same, because you're in a gondola. But we only shot there for one day. Like the poor grips, they had to carry up all their dollies and everything. It was hectic work for them.
Yeah. So on a set, you'll take your 700. Well, a year ago, your 700S and X. Is that right? Those 3 bodies.
I'll keep a few bodies in the bag. But my actual working kit that sits on my Rapids, that will be my D3S and my D700, and they sit in a blimp. So hold on, I'll just put this on.
Actually, so when you're using 2 cameras, do you use the double?
I use yeah. I'll put my black Rapid on now actually, but. This is a Sport, which I love, and it keeps everything. Well,
that's my favourite.
Yeah, you got the Sport? Oh yeah, I just put the Joey on for the other day. Sorry.
new, the pouch.
Yeah, it's just a little jelly pouch. I kept it off because I didn't want to scratch the mic, but I can't stand up and I sort of can. But you see, you can clip it with the black wrapper. You've got the clip here, so I can clip it behind me and it doesn't move.
Can you actually put it in the blimp with the wrap it on?
No, I can't.
Get one modified.
No, I don't have to get it modified because my wonderful blimp made by Aquatech has a tripod socket underneath, so I have my So I have it sitting there, and I will use a double, and I have my my D3S blimp and my D700 blimp, and they sit side by side, and it's revolutionised my life because I don't go home wanting a massage every night. My wife's really happy about that.
Yeah, no, they are brilliant.
But yeah, this is it's like.
And so does that
full of foam?
Completely kill
No,
the
it doesn't.
sound?
What it does is it knocks out 98% of the sound.
So just for anyone at home who doesn't know what that is, obviously on a film set you can't be having a click 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 in the background as Jaden Smith's doing his high kicks, so this monster is a silencer.
Yeah, it's called a sound blimp. This is a tube. This is the body. The old blimps were like lunch boxes. They were horrible. This one is made by Aquatech, who are new to the game for like the last year and a half. And another thing, it only comes from my association with what I do, is that we developed this together, which was really exciting. And before it was just literally a flat back, black back, and you couldn't get to any of the controls. So now what I do is I don't like too many controls on it because it's, as you can see, it's very easy to open. So I can still get to my controls on the back of my camera here when I need to.
Well, does that one actually fit, or?
Yeah. It's just a little bit shorter. The D4 is about 5 mil shorter all the way around. Oops, I might as well plug it in while we're at it.
Okay, so you use a remote trigger which links to this one. I was thinking you're not.
Yeah, this is the wrong. No, this is the wrong tube for this lens, but you'll still hear it. So every lens has its own tube, so that you get optimum soundproofing. Yeah. But as you can see, I've got all the controls here. So when this is closed, all I need to be able to do is change exposure, focus points, and playback if I need to. And then when I played with playback with the Nikon, I can still scroll through up to highlights and histogram and stuff like that. So my rear wheel here, I control aperture. I can control aperture or shutter, and that's just by reversing the wheels and control in the menu system. Okay. So I pretty much know, right? When I'm set up for a shot, right? Okay. As they're walking through there, I want to keep the shutter the same, but it changes by 2 stops. So I want to be able to change the aperture or the other way around. Yep. And then I've got the focus points here. I've only got top and right, and the reason why I've only got the top and right is because I can set it to wrap, as you know, so I don't need the other 2 buttons. And then I've got this other button on the AEL, AFL button, because I can program that to playback or anything else that I want. Okay. Whereas over here, it can bump you on the eyebrow and stuff like that, so that's not ideal. So then any other changes I need to make, I just flick it open in between takes. Yep. So it's quite easy.
So out of all,
hold on, I'll just give you an example. You heard it before, and this is now with it. Bear in mind, this will be louder because the tube's not made for this. Okay. So you can hear it there, and then I would set that on quiet. But across the room, you'll probably hear it because the mic's on the.
No, it's right on you.
Oh, okay. But you can hear it. But that's because the sound resonates through the air on that. So, but you'd be surprised. That actually is 98%. Yeah. So there you have it.
No, big noticeable difference. So on set, what are
Aquatech sound blimps?
What's your most used gear like in terms of lenses? Do you have a couple that you will always end up using on a film?
Yeah, I do have a lot of gear. You know, everything from, the 14 to 24 right through to a 200 to 400 4 and a 400 2.8. And literally everything in between. And I use all of them. I have staple lenses, like a staple diet. Exterior, I use 28 to 70 and a 70 to 200.
Why the 28, not the 24?
The 24 to 120.
The 24 to 70 or the 28 to 70?
Rewind.
Is it that one? Delhi made the same mistake.
Did he?
Yeah. I asked the exact same question and he didn't know what it was.
That's funny.
24 and 28.
I have some staple lenses. Obviously exterior, I rely on my zooms a lot, my 24 to 70 and my 70 to 200. And also if I'm not blimped up, on the 700 or another body, I'll run a 24 to 120, which a flat 4, which I think is an amazing lens actually. It's really, really versatile. And not only that, but with the high ISO capabilities now, I mean, f4 is nothing. You know, I mean, I prefer to have really fast lenses because I like the look of it. You know, that's my style. But it's a really, you know, I mean, if you're going on that lifelong holiday, or you're like the uber enthusiast, you know, I'd have a D700 and the 24 to 120 and a couple of prime lenses, you know, and you've got a kit that's going to last you a lifetime for under 5K. And, you know, I mean, you've got to love that. The guys, you know, I look at the enthusiast as the heart of photography. I really, really admire those guys. And I was talking about it before, how they're developing my skill now. And for a guy who's been in it for 30 years to start off being influenced by people like Eugene W. Smith and Ansel Adams and that, I've come full circle. I'm now influenced by the guy on the street. And I think that says a lot for the passion that people have for photography.
Yeah, right.
You know, it blows me. You've seen it yourself. You know, those guys that go and spend all night doing star trails and stuff, they blow me away. I don't have the patience for that. But I'd love to, you know.
Yeah, good one. So you take the f4 to a lot of the shoots. So do you use any variable
The D4.
lenses? No, sorry, the 24 to...
Oh, the f4, the 24 to 120.
Do you use, like, sometimes you carry a lighter kit, right, just in case stuff goes missing. Do you ever use, you know, the 80?
Yeah. I still, I used to have the 18-200 when I ran the D90, when I'd take that as my backup sort of
now
kit.
It's your son's.
Yeah, I know, my 4-year-old with a D90, it's hilarious. I love that lens. I think it's a great lens. That's the DX lens, you know.
Yeah.
And it would be fantastic if Nikon bought one out that was, you know, even if it was a flat 5.6 or something like that, or, you know, I think it's important to have a flat f-stop on a lens, a fixed f-stop. This business of, you know, 3.5 to 5.6, I understand why it has to be done. You understand why it has to be done. But given an option, I'd rather pay, you know, an extra $100 or $200 and get something with a constant, even if it's higher than what it could be.
Yeah, right.